beat his ass for
can't
y'all.
Wait,
For
I don't
real.
give
I better be quiet.
I don't give a f. Y'all was quiet. Y'all, if y'all was loud,
got the whole hood over there.
Like, twist it up. I don't give a f about none of that.
Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach scheduled to have a rematch sometime this summer, maybe early fall. All indications based on the announcements that we have is that the fight is more than likely going to happen in August, right?
And Gervonta, you think?
I like Lamont in the rematch.
You were one of the few that kind of picked Lamont too.
Both Lamont Roach and Gervonta Davis had intense interviews with intense emotions, and the rematch has been confirmed. There was obvious tension between them as they spoke sharply to one another. Roach made it apparent that he is prepared to fight back while Davis talked with assurance. Fans are excitedly awaiting a very different result from their first bout as the Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach rematch has been confirmed. The fight's date has been the subject of much speculation, with many people hoping for an August bout. However, some people are worried that it would be postponed to October, which would be disappointing. The continuous guessing game would end with an announcement and confirmation.
July, you would think, makes the most sense that Tank and Roach are fighting in August. Unless they talking about pushing the shit all the way back to October, which would be a fucking tragedy. So, we hoping for August, because that's the one that's probably gonna make the most sense. Hopefully we'll get an announcement soon on that so we can stop speculating. Now, with that being said, the Tank Davis Lamont Roach rematch, it will be nothing like the first fight. And I'm tired of people telling me that, oh, Tank can't do nothing different. Lamont Roach just got his number. He fought the same that he always fight. Really. History shows us that that's never the case. As a matter of fact, we got Anthony Yarde and Lyndon Arthur just fought.
This rematch will be completely different from their previous meeting. It's just incorrect to believe that Lamont Roach has his number or that Tank Davis is incapable of making changes. Given his skill as a pound-for-pound fighter, Tank will be ready with new tactics because history demonstrates that fighters adjust. Both men will be at their best in this battle, and Roach is a talented fighter in his own right. It is erroneous to believe that Roach will replicate his performance from the first battle. Everything can change in an instant in the dynamic fight game. The rematch is expected to take a completely different turn with two elite fighters like Tank and Roach, and the spectators can expect an interesting fight. Regarding Gervonta Davis's strength, Lamont Roach said that although Tank is a powerful puncher, he wasn't the hardest puncher he had ever encountered in his professional life. Lamont clarified that although Tank's blows are powerful, they are not comparable to the force he experienced from Jonathan Oquendo, a fighter Lamont has previously faced. Lamont claimed that Oquendo's blows were the most forceful he had ever encountered. He explained how their power differed, pointing out that Oquendo's punches stood out because to their distinct intensity, but Tank's blasts are powerful. Lamont's observations highlight the disparities in punching power among some of the best boxers in the sport and provide insight into the spectrum of power he has experienced over his career. Tank is known for his ability to knock opponents out, but Lamont's history shows that other competitors have put his stamina to the test in more severe ways.
He fight how he always fight. He looked how he always looked in every single fight. Sadly mistaken. This idea that, oh, Lamont Roach he just got Tank number. He gonna fight like that again in the second fight. He could do this, he could do that, bro. Y'all are sadly mistaken if you think the second fight is gonna play out anything like the first fight, bro. Anything, it's not gonna go that way. Specifically when you fighting at the high level, bro. The highs are high levels. When you got a pound for pound talent in there like Tank Davis, a really great talented fighter that's skilled, that got everything that you could have, and you got somebody like Lamont Roach who's a very good fighter himself. Shit ain't gonna go down like that because the fight game, bro.
Shakur Stevenson, who is very confident in his ability to win, recently challenged Lamont Roach to a rematch. Shakur clarified that he was familiar with Lamont's approach because he had sparred with him previously. He thinks he has a big advantage in the impending rematch because of this past experience. Shakur is certain that he could outbox Lamont and win because of the knowledge he has acquired from those sparring sessions. Even though Lamont is a seasoned and accomplished fighter, Shakur's confidence in his own skills stems from his awareness of both Lamont's advantages and disadvantages. He believes that even with Lamont's vast experience, he can take advantage of those flaws and demonstrate that he has what it takes to beat him in a rematch. Shakur is keen to demonstrate his development and abilities, demonstrating that he is prepared to face Lamont and win this time.
What does the rematch look like between Lamont and Gervonta, you think?
I like Lamont in the rematch.
You were one of the few that kind of picked Lamont to begin with. Why was that?
I sparred with Lamont. I knew that he was a good fighter. He helped me get ready for the Oscar Valdez fight. And I knew his style, with Tank's style, what he was going to be able to bring to the table. I knew it. So,
did you really win 20 rounds?
I swear to God, on my daughter's life, I won that much money.
How different does a rematch look in your opinion, Shakur? What adjustments do you think we see from both?
Huh?
What adjustments do we see from both in a rematch?
I think I can't tell you game plans. I could be fighting these guys, so I'm gonna keep my secrets to myself. But truthfully, they both good fighters.
Do you think it's a lot different rematch, or do you think it'll be close again?
It's gonna be a hell of a fight.
How did you see Tank in that fight? A lot of people are saying maybe he's just mentally not there. What did you see?
Nah, he was the same Tank. I don't believe that. I don't got no thought in my brain that makes me think that he wasn't the person he been in all of these other fights. I think he was the same person. All this stuff that he going through stuff. I mean, everybody go through stuff. So he's the same fighter. He's going to be the same fighter throughout his career.
In an attempt to allay any concerns about his capacity to compete at the greatest level, his comments demonstrate his resolve and willingness to take on the task. Fans who are keen to see if Shakur can fulfill his own predictions are intrigued by the call for a rematch. Since no one has ever drawn with Gervonta Davis, some people think Lamont Roach gained a lot of popularity, but it's vital to think about how much this altered his standing in the boxing community. Lamont wasn't as well known prior to his altercation with Tank. However, the attraction put him in the public eye and attracted the interest of both supporters and commentators. Because of this surprising result, Roach's abilities are now more widely acknowledged and respected, demonstrating that he can compete with elite fighters. This implies that Tank's chances of winning the rematch are increased. He will arrive prepared since he is aware that Lamont poses a real threat. The draw demonstrated Roach's capacity to contend with Tank. Tank won't undervalue him this time, either. Tank is determined to show that he has learnt from his mistakes and is prepared to regain his supremacy in the ring, so the fight won't be a rerun of the first confrontation. Lamont Roach has formally announced that he will be rematching with Tank Davis. And Roach is more resolute than ever this time. He feels he has something to prove in the rematch because when he thinks back on their first fight, he firmly feels he was denied a fair decision. Roach is resolved to make an impression, demonstrating that he has grown from his previous failures and is prepared to succeed this time.
Well, what we did see, is it going to be a rematch, or y'all still working on it, or what's the plan?
It's gonna be a rematch.
But it's
9
not
times out of 10,
sealed to deliver.
Yeah, it's on the way.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm signed the seal.
Okay.
So we waiting on the other half. That's all.
Okay, cool.
I like when people say that my part is done.
Yeah, I did what I had to do.
The main goal of his training camp is to improve his technique and strategy for a more successful performance by fixing the mistakes he made in their last confrontation. Despite moving up in weight for the rematch, Roach is still sure he can handle Davis's infamous power. He has thoroughly researched Davis's weaknesses and intends to take advantage of them in the battle. Roach sees Davis's notoriety and knockout ability as a chance to demonstrate his own development as a boxer rather than as a threat. Roach feels he has what it takes to pull off an upset and win this time around because he has regained his confidence and is determined. Many fans are excited to see if Roach can actually turn the tables and receive the victory he feels he was denied in their first fight, and the rematch has created a lot of buzz. Lamont Roach exposed a serious weakness in Gervonta Davis's career. strategy during their first bout. Tank had long faced criticism for favoring opponents who played to his strengths rather than avoiding more difficult opponents. This tactic appeared to keep him in control and undefeated. But Roach broke this trend by entering the ring as a disciplined, well-prepared combatant. He demonstrated that he was unfazed by Davis's fame by sticking to Tank's standard strategies. Because to Roach's methodical and planned approach, Tank was compelled to move beyond his comfort zone. Tank's vulnerability was shown in this battle, which also demonstrated that he couldn't depend only on hand-picking opponents that were easier. Roach shown that even an extremely talented fighter like Tank could be tested to the limit with the correct planning and attitude. This fight demonstrated that when up against a tough, well-rounded opponent, Tank's typical approach would not be sufficient.
That fight with Tank and Lamont Roach shows y'all how protected Tank has been for the past several years. And the people saying, oh, Tank know Lamont and he disrespected Lamont because they fought in the amateurs. Man, he was cherry picking Lamont, and really thought he was going to get that win. But Lamont wasn't coming to play around. He stood his ground and fought back. And to be honest, he won the fight. The rematch is going to be a knockout.
That concludes the video for today. Await the next one.